And welcome back, everyone, from Godzilla. This Who Would Win is Who Would Win a Fight, Matilda versus Carrie White from Carrie, and Matilda versus Matilda. Two telekinetic young women who got mistreated, but who ultimately were able to use their powers to fight back their oppressors. One in a more comedic and lighthearted effect, with some dark elements to it. The Matilda story actually is a little dark, definitely. And one where, yikes. Both's main ability is telekinesis. That's the main thing. Matilda, though, does have also the benefits of being hyper intelligent too. Like, she is very, very intelligent for her age. I believe Matilda's only supposed to be like 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken. At best, she's like 10. But she's hyper intelligent. She's also, I think, between the two of them, the one that has the better fine-tune ability. What do I mean by fine-tune? I think she's a bit more, she's got a better grasp on using her abilities in more, like, nuanced ways. For example, knowing how to, like, say, hey, screw with someone, like, mentally. Because she's very intelligent and knows actually how to keep her head on her shoulders. She's very logical, clear-headed most of the time. She did need anger initially to use her powers, but that we quickly see that she didn't need it anymore. She's also, capable of making things, not disappear, but, for example, like unscrewing the screws of a vent, or, stealing like a little piece of candy or something like that. She can do very minute things, but she can also do very large things. We see her literally save a kid from being thrown out a window and cause the kid to fly. And what was it, a series? The one on Netflix, was that a movie or a series? I do remember to see where she basically makes a whole bunch of papers look like the spirit of the guy Trumberg. Is it Trumberg? I can't even remember her name now. Basically, the villain allegedly killed. So she can do big effects with her telekinesis. Carrie White, however, is kind of a different beast, because there's several different versions of Carrie. There is the novel itself. There is the original movie. Then there's actually a sequel to that movie in 1999, Carrie the Rage. Then there's another remake that I didn't even know about when looking this up, 2002, which is closer to the book. And then there's the 10 or 13? I think it was 13. 13 version with Chloe Grace Moretz. There's actually quite a few different versions of Carrie. In all of them, Carrie is, bullied, she's mistreated, she's abused by nearly everyone. Her mother, and most of the kids, all of them. And it finally comes to a head. In every version, though, her telekinesis and all of her abilities do seem to be tied to her anger and her rage. They are at their most powerful when she's using them. But she's also capable of several other abilities, is the thing. She's got what would be called geokinesis. She actually is causing, stones to rain down from the sky. She can actually create cracks and earthquakes. Not like, world-ending earthquakes or anything like that, but still earthquakes. She is able to manipulate water, apparently, in the books to some degree, like throwing a chunk of ice at someone. She does have, at least in the most recent version of their story, the Chloe Grace Moretz one, she does have some level of pyrokinetics. Like, just straight up causing, at the very minimum, manipulating fire. Maybe not creating fire, but manipulating it for sure. She's also allegedly has some levels of electrokinesis, controlling electricity. She was able to control a car and make it move silently without making the car float. But then there's also just her straight telekinesis, where she was literally able to bring down an entire building. She, by all accounts, she also has telepathy too. She can, in fact, read minds, something Matilda just does not have. So, first off, would these two fight? Probably not, if we're going by that statement, because she'd read Matilda's mind. She's a little kid. She wouldn't fight her. Let's be clear right now. This is not a fight that would actually happen. We're just saying in a hypothetical where these two actually did somehow come to blows, who would win in a fight? And it's basically a fight between nuance and intelligence and composure versus raw rage and power. Unfortunately, I think while I normally favored the more intelligent and nuanced, strategy, if you're like comparing the two, like if I were to use Bleach terms, I do prefer Urahara over Kenpachi, but I love me a Kenpachi. So, I prefer the more think your way out of it kind of approach. But sometimes raw power is just gonna overwhelm that. And based on what we've seen, Carrie is A, more powerful in terms of her raw overall power. B, has overall more abilities than Matilda does, including telepathy, being able to read her mind, and therefore being able to know what she's going to do. C is has just greater feats when it comes to her telekinesis as well. Matilda, for all it's worth, or all she's worth, isn't that destructive. Not to say she couldn't be, but we don't get a lot of evidence to how destructive she hypothetically could be. I think is the better way to put it. Like her telekinesis is strong enough to literally let a kid fly around. It's possible she could do even more. We just don't see the full scope of what she could do because that's not what the Matilda story is. There's no real reason to show a kid her age with that ability in that story, lifting and tossing a car or something like that. Whereas the Carrie story is always a very sad, horror-based story on some level. So it is it's a lot, we get a lot more with Carrie. So it's not impossible to believe Matilda has more power she has not shown. It's just we have to go by what we've seen her do. And I would say that what she does have over Carrie is she would be, well, granted, her against Carrie, she'd probably get scared of Carrie pretty quick, seeing someone just like that powerful and, doing horrible things. But she would still be able to keep her composure a lot more than Carrie would. Granted, when Carrie goes in that mode, she is pretty much just like stone cold face of death. Like it's a seething rage, but it's a calm rage, if that makes sense. Like she is not like yelling or screaming. She's just very quiet and just like almost like a predator at that point. It's quite horrifying. The original Carrie isn't a great movie, but it definitely has its moments. That's for certain. Anyway, so, and then there's like hypothetically, could Matilda maybe, if Matilda's forced to actually like do something like lethal theoretically, like do kind of the, if we're gonna go use that anime reference here, the Naruto or honestly even the My Hero did this, where Kakashi, I believe it was like they have a path through like a nail, and with the Shinra Tensei, the almighty push, and then Kakashi may disappear. Could Matilda maybe do something nuanced like that? Have like something sharp, like a nail, just all her powers, and take out Carrie? Hypothetically, yes. Carrie would, assuming Carrie didn't read her mind for that, and she's not overcome with so much rage that you can't think straight. Hypothetically, yes. There's so much going on that Carrie could be distracted. But that relies on the big X factor here, and that is Matilda. Remember, a fight doesn't have to end in a death. A fight just has to end in someone being beaten. Either admitting defeat, being unconscious, or dead, or anything else. Or sealed away, or whatever. So the problem here, the big X factor here is the personalities. Matilda's a kid, and she's not. She came from a bad household, but she was able to keep her, her innocence. Carrie unfortunately lost it. Like Carrie went straight on murder, on a lot of people. And between two of them, only one has no qualms about killing. Now, again, I want to reiterate. Realistically, I don't. If we were to do some sort of mashup here, Matilda, if anything, would be a nice little anchor for Carrie to stay, calm and collect and, find some goodness back in the world. I honestly do not see Carrie killing Matilda or fighting Matilda in a real scenario. We are just talking in the hypothetical if they had to. And Carrie's the one that's just going to be full on bloodlusted mode. And if we're talking about raw power, I do think she probably, at least from what she's demonstrated, is the stronger raw power-wise between the two. So I would probably have to go Carrie in this fight. Carrie is just, I think, the overall more dangerous individual. Now, you can make the argument that Matilda's more dangerous because she's more level-headed and can think, and that is true if she were older, had even more control, it showed that she had even more power. The problem is that she's not. She's a little kid, and she's got still the limitations of a little kid. But that's just my opinion. What do you got? I got Carrie, but who's to say? Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Later.